Welcome in Sideline Sports Show, episode number 44 of the Sideline Sports Show. Ben and Tim here with you on this lovely Thursday night. Tim, how are we doing, my friend?
Ben, I'm doing great, man. Especially football's back, man. I can barely hold in the excitement, man. We got so many games to talk about tonight. There's going to be a lot of some games that you're just like, oh well. But there's some main ones, man. And there's one game I'm in it just because Gus Johnson's calling it with Joe Cloud over there. I believe it's Purdue and Penn State tonight. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Pitt, West Virginia. That's going to be fun. Two quarterbacks that competed against one another at USC. They're going at it tonight, and there's been no love lost between these two teams. We know that. There's been some expletives dropped in there between each team.
That's true.
So you definitely see the hate for one another, kind of the backyard brawl, and it's just if football's back. My SEC favorite is in action tonight, so I'm excited for that.
Against
I'm sure
Ball State.
Ball State. So if they pull that one, I'm sure I'll never hear the end of that from Cody, one of our listeners.
That's true.
So I'm looking forward to that. So,
Tim, I think you forgot one of the most important games of the night.
Yeah, I was leaving that for you.
North Greenville is taking on Furman tonight.
See, I am in such a predicament here, Ben, because I've always rooted for three teams. I've always rooted for Clemson, always rooted for Furman growing up. Hated when they played one another because I was like, I got to root for Clemson against Furman because I always want to root for Furman in the big games.
Oh, yeah.
Can't do that this year. So the first two games, I can't root for Furman.
No.
I just can't because, I'm alum of North Greenville. If you're alum of a school, whether you like them or not, you need to support that school, unless you had a bad taste. But anyway.
But we didn't.
We did. We're good. So I love North Greenville. So I got to be rooting for them tonight. They're probably not going to win, because
probably not.
Unless you're Valdosta State or West Florida, you don't usually see too many D2 teams beating FCS teams. So but I'm looking forward tonight just because it's going to be football. It's going to be two teams of action, and then the week after that, Furman goes and plays Clemson. So it's week one. I can't root for them. Week two, I can't root for them. So it's like, what the heck? It's like, I hope you guys go 9-2. And then you go and have a great run in the playoffs. But first 2 weeks, I just can't root for Furman. So
True.
Hopefully NGU, again, Ben and I, we're planning on having some calls this year.
See, that's why I was about to break some news, Tim, because I think we can break this news. I don't know if we're restricted to not break this news.
He didn't tell us, so
we were not told. But Tim is going to be the color analyst for North Greenville football all season long at home games, and I will be the sideline reporter for all home games this upcoming football season for North Greenville. So,
if you want to tune in, I didn't know you were going to be the sideline reporter.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, if you want to tune in and you want to hear two professional broadcasters go at it, and Tim sends me down to the sideline. Go to North Greenville, just listen to North Greenville games all year long. There you go.
Too professional? Is there two other guys that are joining us here?
Hey, there you go. I mean,
we're professional.
We are. Depends on who you talk to.
I think it's a very bleak definition of professional, but hey, professional nonetheless.
Exactly. All right, so let's go ahead and talk some college football. Week 0, Tim, had some shockers in there. Obviously, let's start with the first one that we kind of predicted. Unfortunately, we weren't able to predict it on the show last week, but we talked about it between me and you. Mm-hmm. Nebraska goes to Ireland and gets stunned by Northwestern, who basically everybody had in the bottom of the Big Ten. Everybody. Everybody thought this was going to be one of the worst teams. They weren't even going to win a conference game. And then all of a sudden, they go to Ireland and get a dub and come back home. And then, you know what's even funnier? The thing about TikTok right now is the biggest, music or, audio trend right now is it's corn. And Nebraska. Nebraska.
Oh,
I think I saw a TikTok of Northwestern literally using that audio in their victory.
What a troll. Oh, no. I can't believe it. I got a rant here, Ben. What the heck are we doing, Nebraska? I picked you to win your division in the Big Ten, and that's what you do? Look, I bought into the hype. You guys were 3-9 last year, but the so-called greatest 3-9 team of all time, right? And then you go out there and you do the exact same thing that you did last year. What the heck? What in the world are we doing? I mean, goodness gracious, I picked you guys to win the division, and that's how you repay me, by going out there and letting Ryan Helinski, who hadn't thrown a pass in a meaningful game in 2.5 years?
True.
And it's like, oh, the guy's talented. I'm not saying he's not, but what the heck was that?
No, you know what was even more mad, Tim? Hold on.
In the States, you didn't have to go all the way across the pond to Ireland. What the heck?
Look, you know what made you even more mad? Probably when they kicked an onside kick when they were up by 11.
Oh, I saw that. You know, because I wasn't able to watch all the game, and I saw that. I was like, "What are we? What? Are you trying to get them back in the game? What are we doing?"
They did.
I need some more.
Dang,
water.
we're not even gonna make it to picks, and Tim's gonna need an ibuprofen by the time we're done.
Oh, I'm just waiting for Tennessee to go. Then I'm gonna have to endure all that. So.
Oh man. Oh.
Can you imagine Tennessee pulls another what's the team? Georgia State, and then they lose on the first game? Golly, I might as well just pack everything in.
Yeah. Unfortunately, all right. So there's 2 more games we're going to get to, but honestly, my opinion on the Nebraska Northwestern game is I'm like you. Honestly, I'm shocked because of the fact of everybody was so high on Nebraska coming in, because everybody knows Scott Frost is on the hot seat. Yeah, Tim's one of them. And the thing is, now I'm shocked Scott Frost got off the plane and he was still the head coach of Nebraska football. I mean, that's just my honest opinion, because that obviously shows me everything that you've done from the winter to the spring to the summer, you've done absolutely nothing. Like, that's just what that shows me. And so I like Casey Thomas as the quarterback of Nebraska, but it shows me he's the Adrian Martinez 2.0. Like, that's all it showed me. And I hate that for Nebraska, because you were hoping they would turn it around. But kudos to Northwestern walking in there and basically stunning Nebraska. Because if you looked around the stadium and the shots that they showed, it's like at least like 70-30 Nebraska fans.
Yeah, because they bought into the hype just like me.
Exactly.
Just like that, we were all poor saps. You know, we got caught in the corn. You know, like the song says, like you know, it's corn. You know, it's just one of those things that we just got caught up in. It's like we bought the hype. Like, oh, those 1-score games, they're going to turn that around this year, and I guess they still might. But what? I don't even know what I can say further and more, Ben.
You know what I can say, Tim?
Oh, go ahead.
They got knobbed of their win.
Wow.
Oh man.
I thought you were gonna say they got husked or something.
Oh, hey, there you go. That's another one.
but the knob one, oh gosh, we're doing dad jokes and we're 9 minutes in. Oh,
exactly. I'm telling you.
Nebraska does this to you. You know, it's
that's right. All right. So 2 other games we're going to talk about from week 0. Let's go ahead and talk about Vanderbilt going all the way to Hawaii and scoring 63. Just
another game was wrong.
63. And you're just like, what in the world is this? And I mean, are we high on Vanderbilt? Or are we gonna take Vanderbilt to win a conference game? What are we doing, Tim? Are we happy with this, or is it just like, oh, it's just Hawaii is that bad?
I mean, shoot, I didn't realize Hawaii was gonna make Vanderbilt look like the Kansas City Chiefs offense run by Patrick Mahomes back in the day. I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, Vanderbilt put up 63 points on Hawaii. I had no faith in Vandy. They lost to an FCS team last year in the SoCon. So I had no faith in them. So again, shocker, another game which I was wrong. I'm off to a great start, Ben. You know, I think my prime might have been last year, because I might be just straight downhill from here, because goodness gracious. But no, Vanderbilt, I'm not going to buy the hype. You can't buy any hype just because they went out there and played good football out in Hawaii against the Rainbow Warriors. So, sorry.
Yeah, the Rainbow Warriors. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, maybe against a team like Missouri or something like that, but against the rest of the teams in their division, or even in the SEC, honestly, unless you get maybe even an Auburn team like that, I don't even know if them. I don't know. I'm not buying Vandy. Maybe a conference win may come against Missouri, but even then, I'm like,
Okay. I'm on the same train. I can't buy Vandy yet, and it's like you said, if they beat like Missouri or like Florida, the teams that we predict to kind of be in the bottom of the SEC East, then
Yeah.
we could kind of have a conversation and be like, yeah, we maybe buy them now. But right now, still no. I can't tell you the last time Vanderbilt's not at least been dead last in the SEC East. Like, I can't. I just can't tell you. So,
Probably, I think that ever since they went down here that year that they went out or they had Alabama coming to them. Remember that? And they who was their last head coach? He's he's slipping my
he's
mind.
at Oklahoma State now as the defensive coordinator. Yeah.
Derek Mason.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he
There you
was
go,
their head
bingo.
coach, and they were on a high. They'd won a couple games. I think it was 2017, 2018, or somewhere in that range. And
Yeah.
they were feeling great, and then they had Alabama coming into town, and they're just the flat out going to say, hey, we want Bama. Bama's coming to us. We want you guys, And ever since then, they lost that game 59-0, and they went boom, straight downhill, and they've been garbage ever since. So.
Yeah.
Just to call it like it is. So, maybe this is a sign that they're turning things around. Their offense is going to be somewhat decent, but until I see it turn out in the SEC, I'm not believing it.
Okay. And then last but not least, UNC and Florida A&M, I think it was, if I'm correct. Okay. FAMU? All right. Well, anyway, Florida A&M literally walked in there without 25 players because they were all suspended. That was the big headline of this. But yet they come and they're playing UNC close through at least the first three quarters. So and then I don't know what happens, but UNC literally just explodes on offense in the fourth quarter and they just win the game by a huge margin. So are you buying that UNC's defense is going to be good or not? Because here's the thing. I mean, they let Florida A&M, I almost tried to spell it out, but I don't know why. But do you think Florida A&M was just a test and it's just like, oh, it's lucky 24 points, or is it really just a struggle with UNC's defense?
I think it was definitely a struggle with UNC's defense, but again, this is something where you don't know what's going to struggle in the building. I mean, this is your first game without Sam Howell in about 3 years, so it's been a while. This is the first game, and it's under the lights. It's early. They played this game in August. It's too tough to tell. But, I mean, that's been their shining weakness, really and truly, has been their defense. And it did not look great against a team that was without a lot of players on offense or defensive for that matter as well. So, again, it was 56-24. But from a grand scheme of things, FAMU was able to move the ball relatively decently in this game. So, I mean, there is definitely concerns there. I wouldn't hit the panic button. But, I mean, you're seeing why I didn't have North Carolina ranked very highly. I don't think you can lose your quarterback. I don't think you can lose some of your best guys on defense. That wasn't that great to begin with, if I'm being honest with you, and still be decent. I know they have a really good recruiting class. They've been recruiting. I think they went off that high with Mac Brown a couple years ago, and I think that they have some really talented players. But overall, I don't think that's going to be as. I'm not buying the hype on North Carolina early.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I tried to tell you guys. I tried to tell you, and who was the ACC
Roddy Jones.
Roddy Jones. I tried to tell you guys. You both, Roddy. I can tell. I could look in his eyes. He was like, I don't know about that. But I'm just saying, from game one standpoint, I mean, it's hard to tell with offense wise because you're playing a team like Florida A&M that's without a decent amount of guys that don't have the depth on defense, which they're not as talented as you anyway. So. Yeah. It's tough to tell early on. It's just the defense was definitely the biggest key here to kind of look forward in this game. And the Tar Heel defense just did not show up here tonight. That night. But, I mean, again, we'll see what they got. I want to take a look at their schedule here real quick.
We'll go over their next game that they got.
Yeah, they're going to have
that
to
one.
be. Okay, all right.
Yeah, skip that one. Yeah. If you know, we'll pick that game in just a moment. But before we actually start picking games, Tim, because we're finally back, Picks of the Week is finally back. We're so excited. And it's presented by our great friends at section103.com. It's Tim's favorite sponsor, especially
after
this
Labor
week.
Day. After Labor Day.
Especially this week, because you can use your 10% off code Sideline at checkout, and you can get all your Georgia Tech gear. I don't know if you're going to get it in time for the Clemson game, but, I mean, at least you can still place your order and get it before the Western Carolina game. So go check them out, section103.com. All right, Tim, Picks of the Week. here we go. Let's start
Get
tonight.
right into it.
North Greenville at Furman. I know.
I
I
didn't think
know
you
what I
picked this
want to
one, Tim.
do. I know what I would love to do in my heart, Tim.
Yeah.
But if I want to be right, I'm going to go Furman, unfortunately. As much I'm going to be cheering for NGU to win this game.
Oh, same. Yeah, I will absolutely be cheering. Even though technically the company I work for produces their football
Furman.
games.
Yeah.
So it's kind of awkward. That's why I'm kind of in an awkward position here. But
Yeah.
I just kind of refrained from commenting on Twitter all week, basically. Just kind of just stay away. But overall, yeah, you're right. If you're any sane individual, you're gonna pick Furman to win tonight. And again, Furman, I remember I actually talked Dan Scott, their play-by-play, or I heard him talk about it. This Furman defense is going to be one of the best, if not the best, defenses in the SoCon this year. And NGU, you have some question marks. You're usually good on offense. They love to run the football. That's their identity. If they can get some improved QB play from Bryce Fields, their quarterback, they could have a good season as well. Hopefully North Greenville has a good year, because they play in a tough conference. Then we both know, definitely been referred to as the SEC of the Division II, with Valdosta State, West Florida, and just that Alabama school. I can never remember them. That had Tyreek Hill. They're in NGU's conference.
Yes, I'm trying to remember the name of it.
I think it's West Alabama. I think that's what it is.
That's it. Bingo.
Yeah, the place where Tyreek Hill went. So it's definitely interesting. But again, Furman should win, and they should win comfortable tonight. So.
All right, one of the biggest games tonight: West Virginia at Pitt. Pitt's favored by 7.5.
That's interesting. Backyard brawl. I just like JT Daniels too much, man. I think he's actually going to be really good for them. I do. I don't understand how Desmond Howard had Pitt in his Final Four.
Yes,
I think everybody else was just like, "What in the world is this guy thinking?" But hey, you do you, dude. Then again, I guess I can't talk because I had Tennessee. But
true.
But I'm not buying the Pitt hype. They're losing their quarterback. It's most of the time you lose your quarterback, you don't get better. So, and I don't think that'll be the case with tonight. I just have more confidence in JT Daniels over Keenan Slovis. So I'm going to go with West Virginia in the upset.
Okay. I'm going to go Pitt because I'm very high on Pitt this year. I think they're going to win the Coastal and take on Clemson in the ACC championship game. And Country Roads will take them to a win. And I'm going to give Pitt the win in this one. All right. Let's go to our third game of tonight's matchups. Then we'll go to our Saturday, Sunday, and Monday's picks. Penn State, a 3.5 favorite at Purdue.
My favorite part of this game, I mentioned it in the open. Gus Johnson is on the call of this one with Joe Klatt. So that's if I tune in this one, it'll be just for that, just to hear Gus Johnson lose his ever-loving mind. So, and which is he's a national treasure. I love that dude. So that's the main reason why I would be tuning in tonight. But overall, I think you just got to go with the Lions, Penn State. I think they'll be too tough in this one. I think they'll be able to run the ball very well. And I like Penn State. I like the Nittany Lions over Purdue.
I'm actually going to agree with you, Tim, because
there's a rarity.
I know, a rarity. But here's the thing: Sean Clifford's got to have a big year. I think Coach Franklin's almost in a hot seat kind of situation. He's kind of had a down year last year. It's not the year that they wanted. They got to improve this year, and it's going to be really tough, especially playing people like Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State. It's going to be tough, but you have a lot of opportunities to be ranked and be successful, and you got to start with Purdue, which is like a mid-tier kind of Big Ten team. And so you got to get your feet wet early going to Purdue. It's going to be a tough environment. They built like a whole new facility that they just opened tonight. So it's going to be very nice. Give me Penn State in a close way. I like the spread. I would say it would be a 3-point game. It's a one-score game. I like that. So I'm going to go with that. All right, let's move to Saturday's picks. But before we do, I like this great point by that Southern guy. West Virginia and Pittsburgh should have never ended their rivalry. I
agree.
I 1,000% agree. I mean, I was
what
thinking
is this
that
with
earlier.
Ending rivalries? I mean, like we ended Texas A&M and Texas. I can't wait to see that again in 2024.
Hey, man.
Whenever
they play again.
Yeah, whenever Texas comes to the SEC. Some of these rivalries, man, it's like, why did we end these? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand when Pittsburgh, I think, left for the ACC. I think that's when these things kind of – and West Virginia went to the Big 12. But I just like, man, I do want to see some of these old rivalries back. Like
I do
something
too.
like the early 2000s to almost 2010.
I want to see
a lot of these people, man, these kids, they do not understand what some of these rivalries meant and how fierce
there's
they
one.
were.
Kansas, Missouri.
That'd be. I mean, what do you call this one? The battle for Kansas City? I mean,
there you go.
I mean, maybe back in the day it was good, but like right now, like they can leave that one. They can leave that one.
I like Georgia Tech Auburn. It was a big rivalry, and I think now they're very similar in situations right now. So I feel like that would be a good rivalry game too. There's just a lot.
They're both kind of in shambles at the moment too.
Yeah,
like the coaches on the hot seat.
True. All right, let's move to our Saturday's games. Oregon versus Georgia in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Georgia came out as a 17-point favorite.
Yikes.
That's a big.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that one either.
I mean, I like Georgia in this one. I like Georgia this one, but they lost. I mean, literally the number one pick on their defense last year. I mean, they lost a couple key pieces on that defense. That defense is still going to be strong. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they've got a defensive-minded head coach, and they got Will Muschamp. So so say what you want about it as a head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, the man's pretty solid. He brings the energy each and every day. I think everybody knows that just from his interviews that he did on the sidelines in South Carolina and Florida. Yeah. So it's. So, I mean, I think they're not going to miss a beat much. I definitely don't think they're going to be as dominant or anywhere close to as dominant as they were last year, which is a given in my opinion. But the main question is Stetson Bennett, is he going to be able to perform a little bit better this year? I mean, he did fine last year. He played well. But a lot of the games, is he going to be able to be that primetime guy again? I think he showed last year he's capable of it. Can he do it again? That's the big question mark. Can he do it again? Can he step up and be that guy again and take them back to where they want to go in the college football playoff? It'll be interesting to see. I don't know if he's got enough in it to do it again, because again he had that defense last year. I mean he could have if he had a turnover deep in his own end zone, the Georgia defense could they were strong enough to force a stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were strong enough to where no matter where they were on the field, it was a tough time to score against them. So he didn't have a whole lot of pressure on him. It'd be interesting to see. I don't think there's going to be like an immense amount of pressure. I don't think Georgia's defense is going to be bad. It's going to be all on Stetson Bennett's shoulders. But he's definitely going to have to carry more of the load this year. I think he's going to have to play in closer games. I think he's going to have to be in tighter games. I mean, I can't remember any time in the regular season until the SEC championship game that they played in a tight game. So, yeah. I mean, with the exception of Clemson game, but they didn't give Clemson any hope in that game. So there was really no damage. And Stetson Bennett didn't even play that game. So I think he's going to have to definitely put more on his shoulders this year, and it'll be interesting to see if he can do it.
Yeah. Okay. So you got Georgia correct. Just making sure.
Yes. And Oregon is a team to watch out for because the Auburn transfer Bo Nix, he's starting in this game for Oregon. It's his final year of college ball. Looking forward to seeing him play. I think he's going to have a decent year with the Ducks up in Oregon, up in Eugene. But I think the Dogs are going to be just a tad much in this one. I think I got a game score about 30-27, maybe a little bit lower, about 27-24 type of range.
Yeah. I think it's definitely not a 17-point game. But
absolutely not.
You also got to think of it, and this is why I say that. Somebody doesn't know Georgia's defense better than Dan Lanning himself, the new head coach at Oregon. And I think that's going to be a huge advantage for Oregon. Bo Nix is coming in as the quarterback. I think that's a huge advantage for them. Probably one of their better quarterbacks since they've had Justin Herbert or Marcus Mariota. So, I mean, that's a really good piece for them to add on offense. Defensively, I think they're going to struggle, but I think they're going to continue to get better as the year goes on. This is still a Pac-12 favorite, but I think Georgia's just going to be a little too much. And it's like you said, is that Stetson Bennett going to be able to take another big step this year without having those top defenses in the country? Because I think they'll still be maybe top 10, but I don't think they're going to be the number one defense entering or leaving the college football season.
They're not going to be like 10 points per game or just fewer than that. Again, they're if they do that, that's crazy because of how much they lost. But I mean, I don't know if they'll shut them down. Then wearing them down, I could see definitely that happen, Southern guy. But overall, I think they're definitely going to give up a few more points than they did last year. I could see Oregon scoring around 20. I could see Oregon getting 20. But you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if they come out and they laid an egg.
Yeah,
would not be shocked.
This next game, the spread has trimmed down tremendously since I've last looked at it. And I looked at it on Monday, and I didn't think it was that big of a game until now. We will add it on our graphic. These games from Saturday to Monday will be on our graphic that we'll post later on tomorrow or even Saturday. It depends. But you look, UNC is now a 1-point favorite over App State at App State. Do you think they fall at App State, Tim?
At App State? Oh, man. That's
go back to last year.
They play defense like they did last week against Florida A&M. So I'm glad they got, I guess for them, that they got a little tune-up against Florida A&M, a team that they could kind of overpower on the offensive side of the ball. So, again, they're going to have to play much better defensively. I mean, because what they did last week, man, if they do that against App State, there's a chance, if not a strong chance, that they go down tomorrow. So, especially at App State, beautiful stadium, beautiful everything there. I've been there before. It's absolutely beautiful. Crazy atmosphere. And I think that they legit have a chance, man. And I think, it wasn't that long ago that, we were talking about App State and what they did against Michigan about 15 years ago. Yeah. So, again, obviously not going to be as big of an upset, but I think something that on their minds, and I think App State is just going to be, they have a chance to be too much for North Carolina in this one, just kind of on the offensive side of the ball. It'll be interesting to see how exactly App State looks because, again, I think Chase Bryce is still their quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
I believe he's still the quarterback. He's got talent on him as well. He can go out there and win a game. He knows what it's like to go up against ACC competition. So, yes, yeah, and I figured it was 15 years. I think it was 2007.
Yeah,
they did that. So,
this year marks 15.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that video today, and I was just like, wow. I was like, that got me going. I was like, wow. I remember that because I was I was like 10 years old. I couldn't believe it happened. But yeah, I think App State's definitely got a chance in this one. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and predict it. I think App State wins 31-30 by 1 point. At 1 point, I think App State gets it done.
That one, you're saying that 1 point spread is even, like it's right there. Oh, I like that.
I say that's right about what it should be.
See, I like the one thing. I was watching the UNC game last week, and I think I really love this offense. I think Drake May is a really good quarterback. I think these freshman running backs have made a big step. The O-line still is kind of a question. Josh Downs went down with an injury late in that game. It looked like he just kind of rolled his ankle. I think he'll be fine. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, not a lot of receivers had big gains or big step forwards. So I think that's a question mark. But defensively, when you allow 24 points to a team that you should have probably only let score 10 maybe, it's a big question mark. So am I willing to say App State wins? Not yet. I'm just not there yet. So I'm going to go UNC, but in a very, very close one. I mean,
see, Ben, we're just going like you're going very conservative. I'm just going, hey, why not? Let's go.
See,
and you may be right. You may be right, and it's a very, very good chance that North Carolina just needed a tune-up game. They just needed something like, hey, these are our Kings. We worked them out during the week. Then they go up there and they impress us all against App State. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. And, I mean, who knows? Florida A&M could have been a better team than App State. Highly doubt it, but, I mean, I'm
going to go with about 0% chance of that. I'm just going to let you know.
So, all right. Cincinnati at Arkansas. Arkansas is favored by 6.5, Tim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, simply put, I mean, when you lose your best player in offense, your quarterback Desmond Ridder to the Falcons, he drafted, and you lose the sauce, man. You lose the sauce. He goes, first round to the Jets. You're not going to be as good as you were. Now, this team is definitely still going to be very talented, but I don't know if they're even going to be able to win the AAC because I definitely think
don't either.
Teams like Houston could sneak in there and be better. I just think Arkansas is going to be too much in this one. I like the way that their offensive identity. They're definitely tough in the trenches, and I think that they showed improvement last year. They had a top 10 game against Georgia. They got embarrassed by the Dogs, but you kind of showed they weren't quite ready. But I think they're getting there. I think they're getting ever so close, and I think that they're going to have a good year this year. So give me the Razorbacks.
Okay, I'm going to agree with that. I mean, there's not much I have to say other than that because it's like you mentioned. I mean, you lose your number one player on offense, you lose your number one player on defense. You had a couple other guys leave, transfer out, and it's just I don't think they're going to be as strong as they were last year. And so I'm going to take Arkansas because I think they will be stronger than they were last year. And you're very high on Arkansas too. So
yeah, I like Arkansas, and it's just the fact, man, you lose the sauce, Simple put, you lose the sauce, and Sauce Gardner. Anytime you lose the sauce, man.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go with the Pigs, the Hogs for the win. So,
Sam Pittman.
number 4 game of the Saturday slate, Utah at Florida. Utah's favored by 3 in the Swamp. I'm gonna go first because
I was about to actually ask you that. Yeah.
I love Utah, and I'm going to be very high on Utah all year until they stumble and fall. And I'm going to go Utah winning in the Swamp. And I think it's going to be more than 3 points, Tim. I really do. And so I'm going to go Utah at least by 2 scores.
I had a friend of mine that texted me today saying that he was thinking of Florida so highly, and I'm like,
where?
I'm like, dude, have you not paid attention to anything that's happened in the offseason? I mean, it was a good hire by Billy Napier, but he didn't have a good start, didn't get along with some of his players right away. Just wasn't. It was just rocky. The recruiting wasn't great. Rankings that he came out with that he produced for next year, not great. I don't know. It's just definitely not the best vibe. I'm kind of picking them to finish in the back half / middle half of the SEC East. I think he'll eventually get there. I think he's going to need a couple years. He's going to need to bounce back. He's kind of put himself behind the 8 ball a little bit, and I just don't think that they're going to have enough horses to compete with Utah. Utah is solid, man.
Yeah.
We saw them in the Rose Bowl last year. I mean, they dominated Oregon. Oregon, who was a really good team last year, got dominated twice by the Utes of Utah. So I think Utah is a solid football team, and I think they're going to go into the Swamp, and I think they're actually going to win comfortably against the Gators. It may be a close game, like Florida coming back, just because they're using the home field advantage. Because you got to remember, Alabama went to Florida last year, and Florida team that was not very good, and Alabama team that went to the national championship game, and Florida almost won. So there's definitely a home field advantage in the Swamp, but I think Utah is just going to be too much, man. Give me the Utes.
I like that pick. All right, this is been a controversial one, especially for Marcus Freeman. Notre Dame at Ohio State, and Ohio State's a 17-point favorite, Tim.
Yeah, welcome to Notre Dame, where your first game is going to the Horseshoe, and you're playing the Ohio State Buckeyes in Columbus.
Your technical first game.
Yeah, your technical.
He coached the bowl game. So
I mean, they've really kind of thrown him out there, hadn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, first game going up against Ohio State in Columbus. I mean, man. I mean, C.J. Stroud for the quarterback for Ohio State, solid. I mean, you took away his interceptions. He worked on that towards the back half of the year. The yardage was there. The touchdowns were there. He just kind of needed to put it all together, and he kind of did that toward the back half. Smith and Juba and Ngata, I hope I say that name right correctly, went off in the Rose Bowl, set a bunch of records for touchdowns and yards in the game. I think it was over 330-something. Absolutely insane. And just target him. Go after him, and use your complementary weapons as well. And he definitely put on a strong performance in the back half of the year. And it wasn't yardage. His problem wasn't yardage in the first half of the season. He got a ton of yards. I remember in the game against Oregon in which they lost, he put up like 1 billion yards on it. It was nearly 500 yards. It was just, I think he had a couple of interceptions and costly turnovers at the wrong time. And I think he worked on that, and I think he's definitely going to be a very strong Heisman candidate this year. And look, Notre Dame's talented. We just don't know quite a ton about them. We know that they're a very talented roster. We know that's a given. How are they going to respond to this, man? I think the response is going to be great. I just don't think your first game against the Ohio State team that's out for blood, because again, they don't take losses very well. Just ask Clemson and Dabo Swinney.
That's true.
They do not take losses very easily. So especially under Ryan Day,
they posted on a wall.
Yeah, exactly. They do not take that stuff lightly. So I think they're going to be on a revenge tour. They're going to come back, and I think Michigan needs to kind of run for cover this year because of all the trash talking they've been doing over the last couple of years.
Oh yeah.
But overall, man, I think Ohio State's is going to be too much for the Fighting Irish. So give me the Buckeyes. And I say this is going to be a highly scored game, about 38-35 type deal, 38-30, around that range.
Okay. So you're going to spread under. You're not saying it's going to be a 17-point game difference.
No, I think Notre Dame covers. I do, but okay. I think by maybe a touchdown.
Okay.
Maybe a touchdown in a field goal type area.
Okay.
But that's what I'm kind of looking at.
So instead of 17, you're saying it's like 10, more like 10. Yeah.
Like a 7, 8 to 10 type of deal.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm going to agree with you again, Tim. I honestly believe Marcus Freeman's just not ready for that big of a stage yet. And I mean, it's like you said, welcome to college football, my friend, college football coaching, especially.
Yeah, being a
I
head
mean,
coach, yeah.
and I know that you've used that motivation as a 17-point underdog to motivate you, but I just don't see how you can go in, or how a lot of people can go in to Ohio State in their very first game as a head coach and win that game. I don't see it. They're going to run something similar to what Brian Kelly ran. It's what I've heard on offense and on defense. So I'm not worried about it. But at the same time, I'm like, I think Notre Dame will cover. I just don't think they'll win the game. So give me Ohio State. And I wouldn't say a close one, but they'll cover. Notre Dame will cover. All right. Sunday's matchup is Florida State at LSU. LSU's a 3-point favorite. I'm going to go first on this one, Tim, because I have no faith in LSU, and I'm going to go Florida State. We saw Florida State last week. I think Travis is a really good quarterback. I think now that he's had a year under Mike Norvell's offense, it looks a lot better. Defensively, this is going to be their first big test. They really didn't have a big test last week. And
You mean tell me Duquesne with the pants that were up around the belly button wasn't a threat?
It wasn't pants. They defended that man. Did you see that?
I think I saw something about that.
Yeah, it was actually the shirt that blends in with the pants, and so it literally made it look like he was wearing high-waisted pants. Anyway, we got to stick up for him, I guess. Anyways, Duquesne, I mean, it's just not a defensive test, so I think LSU will be that defensive test. I just don't have any faith yet in LSU. I have a little bit more faith in Florida State and them having a better year. And I think if they get off to a really good start, you got to watch out for them in the Atlantic side. So give me Florida State.
Hey, Ben, how much stock do you put in like a tune-in game or a tune-up game? Because Florida State got their first game out of the way, week 0 against Duquesne. How much stock do you put in it, do you think?
Like, so like what you were saying is how much stock did I put in like UNC, like you did with UNC? You still
UNC
kind of.
Yeah, they have a game already. They've already been playing. They've already played a game. They already kind of maybe seen, hey, we could work this out. LSU hadn't had that. Do you put a little bit more stock in Florida State because of that? Or
I think I put more stock into Florida State because they're in a better situation, in my opinion, than what Brian Kelly is with LSU. You saw a bunch of people in that LSU program leave, and there's not a true QB1. Brian Kelly says there is. He's just not going to release it, which I think's stupid. I hate all that crap. But, I mean, for me, I've seen what Florida State has been able to do in the past 2 years, and I haven't seen what Brian Kelly's been able to do at LSU. So I think that's why I have a little bit more stock invested in Florida State than I do in LSU. And here's the thing with me. I think when I look at this is, I mean, you can say they're both in a rebuild. I agree, but LSU in New Orleans will roll the Seminoles. I think it's going to be a tough environment for Florida State to go into, but I think Florida State, when they have a packed house, is a tough environment for anybody else to walk into. So I think they're a little bit more used to it, I guess. So I'm not really fazed by it.
Well, but I think the problem is LSU just anytime that they're in New Orleans, they seem to be unfazed by as well, and they just come out and they straight up ball out.
Yeah.
So I think you got to kind of tip things towards LSU here because guess what? You don't know what Brian Kelly's going to come out with. You don't know.
See, that's my problem.
There's so many unknowns.
That's the problem for me. There's a lot more certainty with Florida State.
But that's just it, though. That allows LSU to study them without, out the wazoo. There's plenty of tape on them. There's not a lot of tape on LSU and what Brian Kelly's system is going to be. You can kind of look at see what his identity at Notre Dame was, but you're not going to be able to tell, I think he's going to run the same style of offense. I think his defense is going to be the same style. You try to study the coordinators, like go with them. Try to figure out anything you can. There's so much there you just don't know. And Brian Kelly and LSU definitely have the element of, hey, we can come out there and we can run something completely different that you've never seen before. They have that capability. And they're in New Orleans, which it seems like they never lose, just as Clemson.
Yeah.
When we went down there in the 2019, national championship game, that place is going to be rocking. And I think it's going to definitely be in the favor of LSU. So I think you just have to go with the Tigers in this one, just for the simple fact of the matter is There's so much uncertainty that I think it's going to hurt Florida State because they don't know how much and what they need to prepare. They're going to have to make so many in-game adjustments. I will say, I think LSU is going to punch Florida State in the mouth, and if Florida State can make those adjustments on the sidelines, then they're going to have a chance here. But they're going to have to make adjustments quick because I think, again, LSU is going to have the side of not having a whole lot of film on them. And well, obviously they're going to have film on the players. But, again, the coaching style is going to be the big difference here. Not going to be a whole lot of film on the Tigers. So that's why something about it's just kind of itching at me, and I just think LSU is going to come out swinging. And I don't know if I have enough faith in Florida State right now. Love Jordan Travis. I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's going to have a fine game. I just got to go with the Tigers. Something's just kind of itching at me saying I think the LSU Tigers are going to come out on top in this one. I think they're actually going to look pretty good too.
All right. Well, our Section 1 of 3 game of the week is our great game on Monday night. Clemson heads to downtown Atlanta to play Georgia Tech in Mercedes-Benz. It's technically a home game for Georgia Tech because of the deal that they made with the Peach Bowl. I don't know.
And don't even get me started on the fact that you're not opening up the top bowl.
I don't know.
So that way you can keep Clemson fans out. That's what you're trying to do.
So I read an article today, Tim, and this is probably going to tick you off even more, that they said that the UNC game was such a great atmosphere and experience for Georgia Tech fans because they didn't have the top open either for the UNC game last year. But it was such a great experience that they just did not want to open the top again.
Even though you'd have 30,000 more people in there?
And I know.
What?
Logically, that doesn't make sense to me. I just don't know. But anyway, and the Peach State or the Peach Bowl, it doesn't make sense either, how they're just like, hey, we want to make more money. So,
yeah, for real.
So, anyway.
Who the heck knows?
Our game of the week, Clemson at Georgia Tech. Tim, I think I already know your pick. I think I already know mine. So, we'll let you go ahead and start.
Part of me's thinking about picking against Clemson just to kind of see, because for a long time, Ben, you don't understand, man. Before college, it felt like, and then a little bit in college, it felt like anytime I picked against Clemson,
that is true.
They kicked the crap out of the team they were playing. They kicked the snot out of them. I think one time I was like, forget it. I'm picking Wake Forest to win. Clemson wins 63 to 3. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I picked Clemson again. They played a tight game. I think it was against Syracuse.
That year they won the year that they beat Alabama, the breaks off Alabama in the national championship game. That was the year you picked Alabama. I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. So anytime I pick against them, I can't pick against them right now. But you know what's funny though? That national title year, I picked against Clemson after that Syracuse game. I picked against Clemson the rest of the way.
Yep.
What do? They blew out everybody the rest of the way. So it's like, do I want to sacrifice?
Do you want to go back
pick?
to your old roots?
Do I want to? But I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens. I'm going to go Clemson. Okay. But I'm going to say by a touchdown because I want to hopefully say that'll allow it to be bigger. And I'm like, oh, see, I was still wrong. Trying to outsmart the system here.
Yeah.
At least I'm trying.
Here's what I have to say, Tim. This is for me, I'm taking the bias out of the whole entire prediction here.
What about your hat? The bias hat.
I'll take out, but that's later
and
on.
Shirt.
But Section 103 gifted me with this shirt, so I'm doing it for the sponsor. All right.
Fair.
But anyways,
absolutely. Yeah.
But here's the thing: I'm taking all bias out of this and saying, here's the thing I want to look at the most. I like what you said when we were talking before the show. This is probably one of the best defenses Clemson's ever had, or maybe any college football team has ever had in the entirety of college football in general. We can all, I think everybody, any team can agree with that statement right there. Linebackers, you look at them, I think they'll be good. I think they'll improve from last year. Secondary is a question for Clemson in a couple of spots. I think you have one or two positions kind of confirmed, but I think there's going to have to be some new guys that step up and step in. We saw Cody's Roll Tide, so that's why it just threw me off.
Yeah, it threw me off too, and I was like, well, he's now.
He's here. Yeah, he's here. But then I want to look at Clemson's offense. Wide receivers is a question mark. Quarterback is a question mark. You may running back's not really a question mark. I think Will Shipley's sealed and delivered, done. It's confirmed like that.
Well, him and Kobe Pace are definitely because Kobe Pace actually had a really good strong year too. So I think that you're going to see a lot of both of them.
Yeah, But, I mean, everything else is kind of a question mark, and Dabo's been very high, and he said in his pregame and everything like that, or all these different press conferences he's had, the Tiger call on Tuesday that they had, he was very high on everybody that he had. He said he had enough guys to go like 8 deep on the offensive line, 8 deep in the wide receiver room. So there's a lot of, and he's also given a lot of confirmation to DJU to be the starting quarterback. And they're saying Clay Klubnik will get the reps when the time comes. Is that
Well,
what they've
I mean,
said?
you got to think about it. You said the same thing when it was Cole Stout, Deshaun Watson. You said the same thing when it was
See?
Kelly Bryant, Trevor Lawrence. So
Yeah.
that's Dabo. He's going to say
Yeah.
that. He's going to give confidence. He's going to let DJ know, hey, I'm doing this for everybody. You're going to be the starter, and you're my starter today. That's
Yeah.
what I'm worried about. That's what I'm concerned about. You know, if he needs to make a move within game 3 or by the time he goes, you know, he plays Furman because, you know, Cade just dominates things and he just runs with it, then that's what happens. But that was like right now, DJ is my quarterback, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And then we flip to the other side of the ball. The only true positions that Georgia Tech, you can say, okay, they're good. Like, we know who their starter is going to be. It's the quarterback with Jeff Sims. I think they're pretty set on Jeff Sims and how he's improved.
Mm-hmm.
The running back room, they've brought in transfers, and Dante Smith has stayed there and has gotten better, according to the staff. And then their linebacker core, which has 2 starters returning. But other than that, there's just a lot of question marks everywhere else. But here's what I sold myself on, Tim. This game last year was a lot closer than what everybody else thought. But this time it's in Atlanta. And I was shocked when I saw the score, and it was like 13 or 14-9. Like, you couldn't have sold me on that. You couldn't. But I'm willing to sell myself, Tim, on if there was an upset this weekend, I'm willing to put it on Georgia Tech beating Clemson. I don't know why. I just have a good feeling that if Georgia Tech were to turn it around, this would be the game to do it. Because they're not going to do it against Western Carolina. But it's like I heard our good buddy Bryce Kuhn say, if Georgia Tech wins this game, they got a lot of momentum moving forward. And Clemson's going to drop a game somewhere, somehow. And you might as well make it the first game of the season. And I think the only reason I say this is because if Georgia Tech can move, at least score 2 touchdowns, I don't know if Clemson's offense can score 2 touchdowns yet. That's just my true, honest opinion. I don't know. But on Georgia Tech's defense, that's a question mark too. So I'm going to go Georgia Tech in the upset, and it's going to be super close. I know that's probably the dumbest pick.
I mean, I couldn't. I never saw that coming. You know, I didn't see it on your hat. Didn't see it on your shirt. You know, I came out of nowhere.
I'm just saying. Look, if I had to sell myself on one upset pick this year, that's it. Like, I don't know why. It's just that's it. So I can't sell myself on App State beating UNC, but I can sell myself on Georgia Tech beating Clemson.
Right. Yeah. Make it make sense, man. A team that's won 3 games the last 3 years, you know, but all 3 years.
Yeah, I know. Make it make sense. You just can't. All right. Make sure you go check our friends out at section103.com. Use your code Sideline, and you can get 10% off your first order. Just like the shirt I'm wearing. Look, and it's College Colors Day. You can rep your Georgia Tech gear tomorrow, and you can actually get a coupon for your next order. So make sure to tag them in your post tomorrow when you wear your Section 103 gear. So if you don't have any, you're out of luck. But if you have some, make sure to go wear it for College Colors Day. All right, Tim, that's it for the show. Any final thoughts?
Football's back.
I got one.
I love it. I'm so excited. It's awesome. It stinks. I won't be able to watch a ton of it because I got to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's the only thing that stinks about it. But hey, work is work, right? We got to do what you got to do. But again, football's back. I love it. I'm so looking forward to Saturdays. I'm ready for 55 degrees. And that may be a little cold for people, but with 55 degrees with a slight weather, or with a slight wind, some sweatpants, you know, and some coffee in my hand, and just enjoying watching some football, sitting on the back porch, just chill, man. It's the best time of the year, weather-wise, and it's one of the best times sports-wise. Because again, mentioned we are going to have football Thursday through Monday. And it's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
Labor Day weekend. Yeah, I'm telling you. Before we go, Tim, I want to have one final thought. and I think you can agree with this. South Carolina has announced the name change of their mascot to the General. But it's the mascot. It's like the live mascot.
I think it's funny. They actually announced today, just before we went on, that they're actually going to keep the original name.
Oh, Sir, Big Spur.
Yeah, they announced they're going to keep that name. That's what they said. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of wanting Cock Commander.
I was too. That's what I was going to get to. I was so mad that everybody took a poll, and that was the number one answer. And then guess what? They automatically just were like, you know what?
Well,
we don't want that.
They're like, yeah, we can't go with that. We can't go with that.
But why not?
That's what I was saying. I was like, the rest of America's going, why not? So I think the newspaper journal that posted that, and
the
like,
state.
Holy cow, this blew up. And I don't think they realized, like, people around the country were voting on that thing.
I know.
So,
we were all very upset.
A lot of people just have that minds about themselves that they just, that it'd be funny. And that'd be great for me. I'd vote for that. Just because my arch rival is mascot's name is the Cock Commander. I mean, come on. The jokes would write themselves.
Especially with y'all having a winning streak against South Carolina. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, going for, I believe, 8 in a row. I've lost count at this point, to be honest. I know it's in the ballpark.
That's what's sad. So,
But
all right.
Yeah, they're very talented this year. So it'll be interesting. Should be a decent game. Hopefully, South Carolina actually carries their weight this year.
Yeah. And then it gets even better next week, Tim, because we will get to share the broadcast booth next weekend. So, I mean, it's all just coming into fruition, Tim. It's all just going to be fantastic.
It'll be my first time in a football booth. I'm looking forward to it. They're kicking off against Newberry, man. And, Newberry made a run last year. They knocked off West Florida in the D2 playoff. So, looking forward to calling that with you. I haven't met the play-by-play guy.
I haven't either. So I can't announce his name because I have no idea who it is. So, but until then, Tim, and to the rest of the world in the Sideline Sports Show, have a fantastic week. Enjoy some college football. Sit on the couch literally from now until Monday, unless your boss tells you otherwise. Watch some college football. Enjoy it. And we will see you right back here next week on the Sideline Sports Show.